Okay, good morning. My name is Chris Kais. I'm chairman of the Kane County Administration Committee, and I'd like to call this meeting for Wednesday, December 13th, 2023 to order at 10 a.m.
We'll be done.
Berman,
Berman is here.
Davist, Ford, Gums,
here.
Young,
Young here.
Juby,
remote.
Caius,
Guys present.
Tepe, Pirog.
This one. Oh, sure, if you want it.
You have-
It's fine. I'll take it.
You have an in-person.
We have a quorum in the house. Perfect. Then I would ask for unanimous consent, or without objection, we'll allow Ms. Juby to attend remotely.
Yes.
Fine, thank you. I would entertain a to adopt the minutes from November 15th, 2023 by unanimous consent.
Berman.
Berman would like to ask for that. Are there any objections or any changes to the minutes? Hearing none. They are approved. Financial report is on file. Is there any public comment? Anyone in person, online, or in writing? Hearing none, seeing none. Item 7, then we have a facilities master plan update. I have Jason Dwyer White and Company, but I think we're having Heidi Files do a short report this morning. Thank you.
Not
Bring
much
us up
has
to date.
changed since last month. Thank you. Not much has changed since last month, but we're continuing to address the concerns and suggestions from this committee. And we're working on a final draft plan, book that we will deliver in January is our plan. And then a full presentation to the cow and then bring it back here to hopefully finalize and adopt and bring it through the county board process. But considering, we took a hard look at the financial situation of the county and your concerns and your suggestions and your comments, and we're continuing to develop the alternatives, and we'll bring it back to you in January.
Great, thank you very much. Any questions for Ms. File? Okay, then on to our executive director's report, Mr. Roger Fonstock.
Good morning. This is Roger with the IT and building management. This morning, I just wanted to briefly talk about capital projects. You have a resolution where we're authorizing capital projects. And there was a sheet that Heidi Files distributed to everyone. It should look, like a big table or list. And I just wanted to explain a little bit about that before we get into the agenda and you get to that resolution. But it's important to us because over the years, trying to identify capital projects and understanding where they're at in the process of a fiscal year has been challenging. And we started initiating projects and then planning projects last year, a little over a year ago. But every project goes through a series of phases. I wish I had the slide for the phases, but we start off with initiation, which is basically the board authorizing the use of capital funds for the purposes of the planning process. So we don't actually start with architects, engineers, or spending your money until we get the initiation started, which is the county initiates a capital project. The next part is once you initiate, we'll build a proposal for doing the planning, and that proposal will result in ultimately a bid, an RFQ, or a competitive procurement process. We'll get all of that information together and a price and a proposal for the actual project to be done and bring that back for the final approval from the county board. So it'll come back to this committee, and then it moves into execution, which is where we're actually doing the work. And it'll finish out with closing, and there's change management process in there, et cetera. So the list you have in front of you tells you the 26 projects that we have listed for the county capital this year. And it shows you where they're at in our phases. You'll see a lot that are in initiation, planning, where we're actually going in, to work on the bid specifications or the RFP. Then there's a group of them that are in execution. We're actually doing those right now. To the far right, you'll see the budget estimates. We will explain a little bit more at the resolution, but at the bottom, there's two that are highlighted in yellow. One of those was a project that did not finish by the end of the fiscal year. And that was for the ADA ramp at the sheriff. They are working on it right now, but we're gonna probably have to go to finance to talk about a rollover or carrying that money forward. Right now, the money at the year end after they do the close, it would be sitting in the fund balance. So we'd do an adjustment to add it to fiscal year 2024. And we'd be taking that back through finance. The other one is an animal control generator that's been a topic of discussion. There was a specification and a bid done for that by animal control. And Henry and building management assisted with that. The bids came back. The price is $77,856,000. The generator itself was not in the capital plan for 2024. And it's also, to be noted that animal control is a special revenue department. They pay for their expenses from fees. So we were talking with Cheryl Strathman, committee chair for that deals with animal control, and Brett, and trying to figure out, well, who will pay for the capital expense of a generator. And I think ultimately we would propose, if it can't be handled through the special revenue for animal control, we would take it to finance and ask to do it through capital as a part of the capital program. We have not done that yet, but we're showing it as something that's in planning because it is out there. It's actually $77,000 is far less than what we thought it was going to be maybe initially. I think we thought it was a couple $100,000 possibly. But that one has not been approved. We're not executing it today. It's just in the planning stage. So if anybody has heard about the animal control generator, it's still being discussed. I think ultimately it'll end up coming from animal control and their committee to maybe finance to make the determination on where we would ultimately pay for it. But we wanted to have it represented in this list. There is also another item that's, I think, not on the list because we don't have much direction on it yet, but the state's attorney's office is also looking to add, I believe, 1 or 2 vehicles to the capital budget for the investigators or the attorneys. I'm not sure exactly who's going to be the person driving the car. But that hasn't been finalized yet. And I think that one will go through judicial public safety and ultimately at finance. But this is the capital projects list as it sits today. And we're going to have a resolution where you'll basically just be confirming and adopting this list. This was what was submitted in the budget as well. But we're doing this to make sure that the committee is informed of what projects are being initiated and how we spend the money from the architect, engineer, and planning process all the way to the execution. So you know what stage we're in. And you'll also see a column where there's the resolutions that authorize the work. So those are the actual resolution numbers that the board approved of the official work to be done. And the ones that say new, we don't have a board resolution yet. And we're still looking at getting the proposal and the final prices so we can get board approval. So if you have any questions about that, we can answer them now, or when we get to the resolution, that would be fine too.
Okay, any questions for
Mr.
Roger?
Mr. Chair,
Dumps.
just, thank you on the animal control generator thing, like fast track that if we can. It's cold.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Fonstock.
So I think our only question, we have no trouble with doing the work. It's more about financial policy.
Sure.
And I'm fine with it either way. If the board's discretion is to go through finance and budget it in capital, or to return it back to animal control and say, use your fees and buy the generator. It's not something that we physically, have a budget in the fiscal year for. So we just need direction from the board.
I would be fine with
So that
capital.
would be referring back to some other committee to go through a process to determine just exactly how to pay for it.
I think we could take
Separately
the
in this
resolution
committee.
to finance and ask them, what's their pleasure for,
But
Funding
again,
it.
It's a policy decision by the board, so.
and we've been discussing it with finance, executive director Foster,
I would like to see that
or
happen.
I'm not, sorry,
Sorry,
Foster.
Gums.
Hopkinson. I was
Gum-
Thank
Hopkins.
you.
Foster for some reason.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Oh, thank you very much. Just to, I've been notified that in case anything does happen and electricity does go down, emergency management has several extra generators that they can quickly move over and install for that short-term need. Apparently from what I've heard, usually in St. Charles, electricity, unless it's a significant issue, doesn't lose electricity for very long, maybe a couple of hours. So we do have an emergency response planned out just in case, as this is being deliberated. And I support what Roger is saying. We have to be, because we have a very tight budget that has been very well honed, we have to make sure that any of our new requests are carefully thought of before they're initiated. Is it a want or is it critically a need? And then it's up to the committees then to decide which one we should move forward with. Because we have a very tight budget and we have to be cautious of it.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. Anything else on that, Roger?
No.
Or any other questions for Roger?
Mr. Chairman, this is Alan.
Ms. Allen?
I just wondered if I could throw this out because I'm not sure where we are with it. The board made the decision to build an animal control building back when I was first on the board. And there was a lot of controversy about it, but the board voted to do that. And then in a next administration, it was decided that animal control should then pay for their building. And so out of their fees over a period of years, they paid off the initial cost of building that building, I guess back to the general fund. So I guess my question is, do we think of that building as something that belongs to animal control? If they wanted to sell it, build another building, they could, or is that still a county property and we do have some responsibility for it? I'm not sure where those lines are blurred, and I wondered if somebody could bring me up to speed.
This is Alan Shepro.
Mr.
Thank you, Mr.
Shepro?
Shepro. Sure.
The building is a county building, regardless of the source of the funding, so they can't just like sell it. You're correct in your recollection that it was financed through essentially a loan against the future tag fees and everything. But that wouldn't affect the ownership of the building or the right of the county board to govern its use or determine how any improvements to the building would be paid for.
Thank you,
So
Mr. Shepro.
so we still have responsibility for the county still has responsibility for the building to some extent, and that's why we're trying to figure out who will
Yes.
pay for the generator. Okay, thanks.
All right, thank you. Mr. Fonstock?
So just one point for clarification, most of the money that we use for capital funds is used to repair and replace. So the generator is not being repaired or replaced. This is brand new. They've never had a generator at the site. So that's one piece that differentiates this. And I think if, we were to be looking at generators, we probably have out of 29 buildings, I'm going to say that 3/4 of them do not have generators that power the building. So it's, this building, the buildings on this campus, but I mean, we have large sections of buildings that also don't have generators, and they're special revenue. They're different types of buildings and programs, all important, all significant, but it's just something to consider that most of our capital dollars are repair and replacement programs. So this is something that's a new use or a new piece of equipment.
Okay, well, I don't want to get bogged down too much
Yep.
more on this, so unless there's a really important question, I'd like to move on.
Just to that point, I don't think the majority of those buildings house animals overnight, so.
I think we can move on then. Thank you.
Perfect.
So does that conclude your statements for the capital project, Mr. Fonstock?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Then on to building management. May I have motion and second authorizing capital projects from the capital fund. Moved by
Berman,
Berman, second by
Davist.
Davist. Very
Yes.
festive, Mr. Davis. Nice to have you. You just got out of the elves shop, obviously.
My request for remote attendance wasn't working, so
Oh,
so I better hurry up and get.
I'm glad you could make it.
Is that is a dinosaur, Tyrannosaurus Rex? Indeed.
oh.
Okay.
But it has a disco nature to him also. It's got the marble, but
Okay, moving right along.
Is there a law against? Should be.
Apparently
in
not.
11 states, but not in Illinois.
Oh, really?
I'm going to give the floor to Mr. Thompson.
Good morning, Henry Thompson, Building Management. Item A is authorizing building management to initiate the planning and procurement process for the FY24 capital list. Final approval will be done by Kane County Board. It is budgeted and recommending approval for the list.
And that was the list that was presented just
Yes.
moments ago. Any questions for Mr. Thompson?
Gums will move it.
Berman and Davis have already moved it. We're ready to go. Then we'll have a roll call vote, please.
Berman,
Directed by
Yeah.
T-Rex.
Davist,
That was just.
Gums,
Gums, yes.
Young,
Yes.
Juby. Juby, Caius,
Guys, yes.
passes.
Motion passes. May I have a motion and a second for a resolution authorizing a design build with NCAP Incorporated for the design and construction of the Geneva Creek stabilization project for Kane County.
Gums will move.
Moved by Gums, second by
Berman,
Berman.
Yes, item B on the list is authorization design build with NCAP for design build for the creek stabilization project. Building management work with Water Resources and Kane County Forest Preserve to put out a bid that went out on September 15th. The committee, which was built or went through Water Resources, Building Management, and Kane County Forest Preserve. We awarded the bid to NCAP. The project's estimated at $499,000. 250,000 that it is budgeted, but the rest of the 250,000 is contingent on riverboat funding.
Okay.
So it is budgeted and we recommend your approval.
Okay, is that why you're here, Rob? To answer questions? Okay, if you have any questions about this, we've discussed it in other committees. Ask for Mr. Thompson, any questions? Or Mr. Linky? None? Okay, then roll call, please.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Davist,
Davis, yes.
Gums,
Gums, yes.
Young,
Young, yes.
Juby. Juby, Caius,
Guys, yes.
passes.
May I have a motion and a second authorizing for the authorization of a contract extension for the Kane County Building Automation System, BAS, and repair services. Moved by
Gums,
Gums, second by
Young.
Young.
Yes, item C here is the 1-year extension with FE Moran for our building automation services. There's items are listed for the hourly rates of $154, $214, and $254 for holidays. It is budgeted and we are recommending your approval.
Any questions? Hearing none, seeing none, roll call.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Davist,
Davis, yes.
Gums,
Gums, yes.
Young,
Young, yes.
Juby. Juby, Caius,
Guys, yes.
passes.
Motion passes. Moving on to item 10, information technology with Charles Lasky. May I have a motion and a second authorizing an annual renewal of CityView license and maintenance with Harris Corporation. Moved by
Berman,
Gums, second by Berman.
Hi, this is Charles Lasky with the IT department. CityView is a software package that's used by 3 of our departments, the Department of Transportation, Health Department, and Development Department. So this is a software they've been using. They would wish to continue using it. So this is our annual renewal. So we'd recommend approval. This is a budget expense and we have no issues with them.
Any questions for Charles? Roll call, please.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Davist,
Davis, yes.
Gums,
Gums, yes.
Young,
Young, yes.
Juby. Juby, Caius,
Guys, yes.
passes.
May I have motion and a second for a resolution authorizing renewal of contract for benefit administration services. Moved by
Davis moves.
Davis, second by
Berman said.
Berman.
So
Charles?
this is another renewal. This is actually the services that are used by HR for doing the benefit administration, open enrollment, and keeping track of things for them. They had bid this out and IT has been paying for it out of a countywide fund. So we talked with Executive Director Labrillo. She would like to continue with this. So we'd recommend approval since it is a budgeted expense.
Okay, any questions? Roll call, please.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Gums,
Gums, yes.
Young,
Young, yes.
Juby. Trivia. Yes.
Guys, yes.
Passes.
Motion passes. On to item 11, Mill Creek SSA. Mr. Fonstock, may I have a motion and a second authorizing a contract extension for Mill Creek SSA brush pickup services. Moved by
Berman,
second by
Young.
Young.
Okay.
Fonstock?
Good morning, this is Roger Fonstock for Mill Creek. They have a brush pickup service at the SSA. This is an SSA paid service for just that special service area. It's in with Trees Are Us in an amount not to exceed $29,906.49. It is budgeted. It's a 1-year contract extension and we're recommending approval.
Okay, any questions? Roll call, please.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Gums,
Gums, yes.
Young,
Young, yes.
Juby. Trivia. Yes.
Guys, yes.
Passes.
Item B, may I have a motion and a second for the resolution authorizing a contract extension for Mill Creek SSA turf fertilization weed control services. Moved by,
Davis moves.
second by
Gums.
Gums.
Okay, Roger, again, this is another agreement for Mill Creek, the special service area for their turf out there and fertilization services. It's with True Green. It's a 1-year extension. It's $18,954. We're recommending approval.
Okay, any questions? Roll call, please.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Gums,
Gums, yes.
Young,
Young, yes.
Juby. Trivia. Yes.
Guys, yes.
Passes.
Motion passes. Item C, may I have a motion and a second authorizing a contract extension for Mill Creek SSA Parkway tree and stump removal services. Moved by
Berman,
second by,
Young.
Davis.
we'll put Davis in there.
This is Roger again for Mill Creek Special Service Area. It's another 1-year contract extension with HGTS. And this is for the tree and stump removal services in the parkway. And it's not to exceed $30,000 and it's a budgeted expense for the SSA. We recommend approval.
Okay, any questions?
I have a question.
Mr. Young.
Young, is this, do they charge you for each stump removed, or is there, how does that work? I mean, not to exceed $30,000.
Sure.
But
So we get a unit price for how many trees or stumps are removed, and it was actually set in the bid that that's the fixed maximum amount that we can pay. And so we go through and take an inventory, and then there's also kind of a request process for diseased or trees that are in bad condition. And this is the not to exceed amount. So if we go over that, we would need to get another contract provider, or we'd have to get an amended resolution. But it's just a way to authorize the work for the trees to be removed during next season.
But say you
Yeah.
have 10 trees that are affected, you come out, they do the 10 trees and then they send an invoice.
Yes.
That's how that works. Okay.
Yep, and it posts against, we're doing basically like a blanket PO to cover the money, and then we'll post against that as trees get ordered and replaced. It happens almost monthly, I would say, where somebody calls and says the tree's dead. We'll schedule somebody to come out and take it out and put a new one in.
And it may not even go over 30,000 with.
Yeah, I think we have had years where we've approached that, and then other years where it's not so bad. It's really kind of hit or miss.
Emerald ash borer, probably.
Yeah, it's actual costs. So yeah, we're not just giving them the.
Okay, any other questions? That's it. That's satisfactory, Mr. Young?
Oh, yes, thanks.
Roll call, please.
Berman,
yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Gums,
Gums, yes.
Young,
Young, yes.
Juby. Trivia. Yes.
Guys, yes.
Passes.
Motion passes. On to item 12, vehicles. May I have a motion and a second for a resolution ratifying an emergency purchase affidavit to purchase a 2023 Ford Super Duty F-450 salt truck for the Building Management Department. moved by
Berman,
Davis to move.
Berman, second by Davis. Then, Mr. Fonstock or
Henry
Mr.
can take that one.
Yes, Henry Thompson, Building Management again. This is, item A is ratifying the emergency purchase affidavit for the 2003 F-450 salt truck. We did work with purchasing and our best procurement route was to do an EPA. The truck was MSRP at 112. They discounted it to 6,000. And we also did have a trade that was graded to be disposed of by Gary at the sheriff's garage, which they gave us credit of 5,500. So the total amount was 101,946, which was budgeted. But we actually budgeted 150,000, so we're 48,000 under what we budgeted for. So it was budgeted and we are recommending your approval.
And did I see some pictures in there about, that's not the new truck, is it? Or was that something else? I was thinking? The old truck?
Couldn't tell from the
So
picture.
rust,
Yeah.
oh yeah, there you go.
The old truck, yes.
That's not the new one.
I didn't
Truck
see
was
it.
actually inherited from KDOT back in 2017. It was a 2005.
You got $5,500 for that?
Yeah.
That's when they used to build them out of steel.
Heidi worked her magic on that one.
Yeah,
Got us good price for it.
good deal.
Good job.
And let's get this passed right away before they
Yeah,
take it
that-
back.
Two questions.
Oh, Mr. Davis, yeah.
Davis here. Do they still do, you used to be able to get that spray and coating like in the beds of trucks?
Z-Bart.
Yeah, like, yes, you know,
One-
sometimes factory done, sometimes
Oh,
at
yeah.
the dealership, sometimes Z-Bart. And did we get that sprayed all over this one since it's gonna be a salt truck?
We did not get that, but we went one step further and the actual bed and plow is actually stainless.
Nice.
All right.
Okay.
Second question is.
Oh.
Did we ever make any progress on the quick purchase language that the state has that I argued we should be able to use? And purchasing was trying to get some help from the state's attorney's office but here we are still doing EPAs. Anybody?
I defer to the state's attorney's office.
I think that goes beyond the realm of our
All right,
committee. I
yeah.
bring it back in finance or exec, I
I
guess.
can tell you our discussion after the meeting. Yeah.
We have a lot of,
Like-
we'll have a lot of time in the next exec meeting to discuss things.
Okay.
Mr. Young,
David Young, I'd like to hear from Leslie Juby on this one.
Get the
What,
juke-
what would you like to hear?
Well, you're usually like these emergency.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm okay
so-
with this one based on the fact that we got a good price on it and there's not a lot of availability. Henry already talked to me about it. I guess it was last month. So yeah, I'm good.
Okay, I was teasing.
thanks for
too.
rubbing it in the
I
wound
was
there.
just teasing her too. So.
Okay, so then we will call for a roll here.
Berman,
Berman, yeah.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Gums,
Comes yes.
Young,
Young, yes.
Juby. Juby, I. Caius.
Caius, yes.
Passes.
Yeah, motion passes. Any new business?
Mm.
Old business? May I have a motion and second, place the reports on file? Moved by
Berman,
Berman, second by
Davis.
Davis. Then we have need for executive session. And we have Mr. Francis Cermak here to guide us through that. And I will entertain a motion to go into closed session to review the release of closed session minutes. Moved by
Young.
Young, second by
Comes.
Gums.
Actually, just.
Berman?
It's actually just the review of, we can't release it.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Gums,
Comes yes.
Young,
Young, yes.
Juby. Juby, yes. Caius.
Guys, yes. Moment will be in closed session.
All right, everybody online, please accept those invites. Be aware we are live streaming until I give you the word that we're in closed session.
Get this one. Thank you, Mr. Cermak.
A reminder to those in the room, they must also accept the invite to closed session. That would be you, Mr. Roth. All right, you are in open session.
Great. Can then we then have roll call, please?
Berman,
Here.
Davis,
That was here.
Ford, Gums,
Comes here.
Young,
Young here.
Juby,
To be remote.
Caius.
Vice President.
Quorum.
We have a quorum. Then may I have a motion and a second to vote on the release of closed session minutes as outlined in Exhibit A, moved by
Young.
Gum- Young. And then
Gumps and Young. Sounds
Vice versa.
like a poem of some sort. Poetic. Okay, moved by Gums, seconded by Young. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Berman, Davis,
That was just.
Gums,
Comes yes.
Young,
Young, yes.
Juby,
UBI.
Caius.
Bias, yes.
They are released.
Motion passes. Item 18, public comment. Is there anyone online, in person, or written for non-agenda items? Hearing none. I have a motion and a second to adjourn. Moved by
Young.
Davis moves.
Davis, second by Berman. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned.